And a good morning to you all, and welcome to the starting lineup. Delighted to have you with us on an absolutely beautiful August Tuesday. Ned Reynolds joined by
Dwight Glenn
and Maddux Radosevic.
And that is our trio for the day. Scott Purrier and indeed Art Haynes are they're absent today, but they'll be back shortly. In the meantime, we have 2 hours coming up. For the next 2 hours, we'll be talking a lot of sports and a lot of whatever, and like to hear from you. Area code is 417, and the number is 447-1021. That's to call in or to text. Both the same line, and it's the method of conveyance is your choice right here. Either
Okay, whoa. Method of conveyance.
like talking or texting.
Oh, okay. Using these big words awfully early in the morning. It's 7 o'clock. There's people just driving off the side of the road trying to look up your words, Ned.
What did he mean by that? It's a hidden political meaning, right?
No, but I can go into something if you want me to.
Anyway, the starting lineup is brought to you by Play It Again Sports and the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield, and Fremont Springfield. Everything you want along the line of athletics, including, folks, restringing and maybe taping of the baseball bats and things of that nature, and uniforms, all there at Play It Again Sports in the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield, and Fremont. Citizens Bank of Rogersville with two routes. That's what they call their branches, routes. One is adjacent to Highland Springs, and the other is in Rogersville itself. By Swing Right Golf at the south end of Campbell Avenue, a little bit north of Nixa, and you can have a great time. You've been there. You play a lot of golf.
I have been there. It's a very nice facility. You know, you can not only just go hit range balls outside, they have the simulators. If the weather's not too hot, too cold, raining, you can go inside, and you can play Pebble Beach, you can play St. Andrews. I mean, it's a pretty cool thing. But they also have mini golf. They have a Frisbee golf course. So it's kind of a complex, and batting cages, too. So you can take the family there and have a half afternoon of entertainment.
That sounds like a lot of fun, too, at Swing Right Golf.
You know, and the funny thing is it's only right around the bend from where Siler's golf course used to be back in the day. Do you remember that? Where Coach
played it many times.
Bill Verdon lived over there, of course.
His backyard was on the 17th fairway.
And now all those holes that used to be so hilly, they just have what I would call mini mansions on them now. But Siler's was a good place to make you feel a lot better about your golf game.
Well, it was a smaller court now we're getting away from.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And by Marshfield Chevrolet at the I-44 exit, couple of left turns, and you're right there at Marshfield Chevrolet. Can you indulge me for a split second on an incident I had?
This is your show, Ned. We're just here.
No, it's not my show.
Your pleasure.
But my friend, my closest friend in my existence, Fred Miller, the old weatherman at KY3, he and I were out playing golf, or that's allegedly what we were doing. So Fred had a hidden gem of humor in him, and it usually was at somebody else's expense, which was great. It was always very funny and always well taken. So we're walking along. He says, "You have the honors this time, Reynolds." And I said, "No, I don't. I finished behind you." No, I insist. You go off, tee off first. As we walked up to the hole, I saw why he had asked me to hit first. Great big black snake was curled up there right at the tee. And it's a black snake. It's not going to hurt anybody except me.
Right. Well, anybody that would drive by that area now, if you know where we're talking about, it was Siler's golf course, and it was woods and dense forest, because there were not all those subdivisions and all this, and we're talking now 30, 40 years ago, but it is amazing how that is populated. But Swing Right is a great place to take the family. You know, this is a day of celebration for two reasons. As a former veteran, everybody should vote. If you don't vote, don't complain. But the second part of the celebration is no more political ads for a while.
Probably for about 2.5 weeks.
Well, that's true, too.
And then the November elections and the campaigning, I'd say 2.5 weeks. It'll start in probably mid-September, sometime around that. But you're right. This is election day, primary day. And Dwight, I fully agree with you. And you're right. As a vet, we do have that stigma that, hey, get out there and we took the oath to defend the country. That's what we took the oath to do, and that is secure your right to vote.
We will quit talking about this because this is a sports show, allegedly. But one of the things that I think that we tend to forget, and I'm guilty of this too, is we spend a lot of time complaining when we have to take time to remember we live in a free country that gives us the right to complain. at the same point, we have the ability to go to the store and get food and not go hungry. Most of us are fortunate enough to have shelter over our heads. And I think because of the sense of entitlement that so many people have, and I've been guilty of it on occasion too, we take for granted that we live in a free country.
Maddux, you're young now, and you're a college student and a graduate and a master's degree candidate and so forth and so on. Does the election day have any kind of importance in your scheme of things?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, whenever you're talking about voting, there has to be some kind of importance to it. And, the right to vote is very important. We all have a very good thing here in America to be able to do that. And, I think the fact that we get to sit here and talk about sports and use our freedom of speech to embody something that we're passionate about and to draw more people into our interests is another great gift that we have. So the rights that we have in this country, they're very good, and we're blessed to be able to use them.
And one of the worst sins of all is to take it for granted, because you do not take anything that's that precious to our being. Don't take it for granted, because it is not guaranteed in any way. All right, having said that, we're into the starting five now, and that's the top stories. And that'll be the trading that was done yesterday. I think we'll concentrate pretty much on the Cardinals and the Royals. There were a lot of others. We'll get into them in a second. But here you have Dustin May and JoJo Romero. And this, incidentally, folks, we'll have Corey Riggs on at 7:30. We'll have Rob Raines from St. Louis. And I do want to ask him this question. That deal puzzles me a little bit. Not that they're gone, but they went to a division team, and the Cardinals will be playing them again.
I'm glad that you. And also at 8:30, we have Trenton Berry as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't mention Trenton. Yes.
This one of the things that was perplexing to me, that wasn't the only interdivision trade yesterday, because the Orioles and the Red Sox had a huge trade, and it used to be almost taboo to trade within your own division, because you're going to see those. Now, you don't see them as often as you used to because of interleague play and all that, but it points out to me there used to be such a American League, National League. The divisions, within each were their own individual thing. Well, now baseball's just become one big unit. If you're trading people within your division, are the rivalries not there anymore?
And to me, I think this is a bigger problem for the Brewers if you're talking about intra-division trading, because keep in mind, Dustin May and JoJo Romero, those are going to be rentals for Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And the Cardinals have already made it clear they're not necessarily interested in contending here in 2026. They're thinking about the future. The front office has said this, and I think it's more problematic for Milwaukee because you're giving up prospects, and those could end up hurting you down the line if those prospects end up panning out.
Well, that's a very good point. Extremely good point. Now, the prospects they got from the Brewers, I think, are both pitchers, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they're both outfielders, actually.
Was it outfielders?
I'm pretty sure, because I think that one of the things I was reading...
It was Josiah Ragsdale.
Right.
And he's going right to the Springfield Cardinals. He'll be with them in San Antonio when they play the Missions tonight. Ragsdale's an interesting story. Boston College, but he's also from my part of the country, South Jersey, and a kid who really did some remarkably good things at Vineland, which is down close to the Jersey Shore. But he comes, and I don't know where the other kid is going to go. Whether or not he goes to the Cardinals, I doubt it, because I think he's probably more high A. But, yeah, they do get those two outfielders. It's the pitchers they got from the Diamondbacks.
Correct, for Nootbaar.
Nootbaar, yeah. And both, and this is interesting, too. Here's Nootbaar, who fits the left-handed drought, so to speak, that the Diamondbacks had in their line. Didn't have many good left-handed hitters. Well, they do, not that Nootbaar is, but he'll certainly fit a void there. The two pitchers they got from Arizona, both were with the Amarillo Sod Poodles, and both played for them this year here.
And both starting pitchers, correct?
Well, yeah, one of them is.
And I know in the minor leagues they're still working through that, because nobody goes 7 or 8 innings in the minor leagues. So, and actually in the major leagues, how rare is it now to have somebody throw a complete game?
Liam Doyle, who pitched the Springfield Cardinals, I don't think he may have gone 6 or 7 on one occasion this year, but pretty much he's been out of there after 5.5 innings and so forth and so on. Okay, and then we had the Kansas City Royals making a deal. Can you elaborate on that one, Chris Bubich going to the Dodgers?
Right, yeah. I mean, the Dodgers just continue to bulk up their roster, and it's getting to the point where it's very scary. I mean, this is one of the greatest teams ever assembled in my mind. If they don't win the World Series, then something is terribly wrong for that club. But good for the Royals, got rid of yet another guy. I mean, they know that this season is pretty much out the door, so just try to regroup and gather themselves to get ready to compete again in 2027, and also got rid of Lane Thomas as well. So loading off a couple of their players they knew that they didn't really have room for anymore, and they wanted to try to bulk up their farm system, and I think they did a good job.
The Cardinals also picked up, and this is a separate acquisition, a relief pitcher from the Cincinnati Reds who will be with the Cardinals. He'll step right in and take Romero's place as a left-hander in their relief corps. And his name is Caleb. I think Caleb Ferguson, if I'm not mistaken. He'll fit a bill. Not going to be a great pitcher, or probably not, but a stopper somewhere along the line. But the fact remains that ends all the dealing. Can you guys, would you allow me a story? This is a true story. This did happen. You mentioned the name Adley Rutschman. He played here in Springfield at Hammons Field. That's what it was called back then, but not as a minor leaguer. He played here as a collegiate. Keith Gutton did a great job of negotiating with Oregon State University, which was a national power, and I can't remember exactly whether or not they were the reigning national champs, but they were really, really good, and a former national championship team. They came here, and I'm going to say it was 2017 or 2018, somewhere around there, for a 3-game series, and it would have been in April. I remember it very well because I'd been reading a lot about this kid Rutschman on their team who was a really star player. Well, Scott Bales and I used to have a little game where you could watch a player out on the field by the way he walked, by the way he carried himself. And you say, that guy's real. Well, the minute I saw Rutschman, that guy is real. And to that end, he hit a home run, and there were only 2 of the 3 games played because the third one was cold weathered out. Oh, my, it was. And this is April. And Oregon State won both the games that were played.
You talk about the way that he carries himself to Ned. I mean, I remember his major league debut. The first thing he did, he went right out to the home plate umpire and shook his hand.
Shook his hand, yep.
Just about as professional as you could be. And that really does go a long way in the game of baseball, where composure and emotion mean everything.
Well, come on, they're human beings, and the umpires, they like to be made welcome on the field. Yeah, and I did see that, and it was a brilliant move.
And then we're going to have to go to break in a second, but I do wonder if you sense the trend that I did yesterday. Boston gave up 3 of their top 5 prospects to get him, so they're all in for this year. The Dodgers are scared to death of aging out because Mookie Betts, some of their players, Freddie Freeman, they're in their mid-30s now. So they're all in for this year. Is some of that also driven by the lack of knowledge if there's going to be a next year?
Well, I think all of it is. Yeah, there will be, in my opinion, there will be a season next year, but it may be vastly reduced, depending on how mature the individuals are who are doing the negotiating and how adamant the players are, and apparently they are, about the salary cap. Baseball is the only sport in America without a salary cap.
I still think that the players, and I understand they want to have the ability to make as much money as possible, but if you're worried about competitive balance, there needs to be a cap on top, but also needs to be a floor on the bottom so that you don't have the Pirates and the Rays. Now, I understand they don't have the revenue streams that the Yankees and the Dodgers do, but if they're just there to make money and not put a competitive product on the field, how is that good for the game?
It isn't. It isn't good for the game. But how much resonates, how much of that philosophy resonates with the owners? They all make money, and they all make a lot of money. The television revenue and all the various streams that they have with these teams, I'm talking about TV streams, but the various functions they have for raising money, they're all so lucrative. And it's Major League Baseball. It's the biggest of the sports. So is the incentive there to hold the course? You're going to be missing a lot of money if you're not playing.
Well, the one thing that amazes me, and this is a fact, they gave Shohei Ohtani, an $800 million contract, a lot of it deferred. They made all of that money back last year in endorsements and uniform sales and Japanese people following. I mean, they made that money back in 1 year.
Wow.
We're going to endorse a timeout here on the starting lineup. We'll take a brief break. Great having you with us, folks. Stay right where you are. And we are delighted that you're with us on the starting lineup. Ned Reynolds along with
Dwight Glenn
And Maddux Radosevic.
We were talking a little bit about the youth, and you have to bow to them. The youth of America in sports has taken over. Well, the kid Schlichter, is that how he says his name for the?
Yeah, it's a lot closer to a word that's going to get the FCC mad at you, but that's good enough.
Well, he looks like a little boy out there, and then the Ben the slugger for the Yankees,
Rice.
Ben Rice looks like a kid, and yet he's at Dartmouth University. He's out of school, looks just like a young boy, and what's he have? 31, 32 home runs this year, something like that. Amazing. But yeah, they do. We've got to bow to the youngsters.
Oh, well, I thought it was very interesting last night too. The Cardinals showed resilience. You know, they've kind of gone through a lull here, and it's not a big winning streak. They've won 2 in a row, but after they had a lead, you know, they get to the potential Cy Young winner and get him knocked out in 3 innings. You think, well, we've got this in the bag, and of course, the bullpen gave up the ghost, and they go down by 1, and then score 7 runs in the 8th inning. Burleson hits 3 home runs yesterday. Pretty amazing.
I love this story about Alec Burleson. So he's the first National League player to hit 3 home runs at Yankee Stadium since interleague play began in 1997. And he was involved in trade rumors before the game started. The Padres were interested in him. And so as the story goes, manager Ollie Marmol calls him into his office, and as if he's going to say you're about to be traded, he shakes his hand, looks him in the eye, and he says, "Burley, just go out there tonight and be yourself." And he was.
How about that? And he built 3 of them.
Do you not think the Yankees noticed him? Because guess what they have at Yankee Stadium? A short right field porch.
And the stadium, and Maddux, I think you're probably a little bit too young. The stadium now is not the original Yankee Stadium. It's right across the street from the old one. But they're designed exactly the same way. And that short right field area out there, the wall is small and so forth. And this is the media. I love this. This is many, many years ago. Well, we're playing in the house that Ruth built. It was the house that was built for Ruth is what it was, and that's why they had those seats out there.
Well, you know, in their primes, there was talk at one point of trading Joe DiMaggio for Ted Williams, because what does Fenway Park have? A short left field porch with a very high wall, grant you. But can you imagine how many more home runs they both would have hit had they played in the opposite parks?
Believe it or not, Ned, I've actually been to both Old Yankee Stadium and New Yankee Stadium. I was a little tight. I was about 4 years old when I went to Old Yankee Stadium, but I have been there.
All right, let's keep. What was it, for a baseball or football game?
Oh, it was baseball.
Baseball.
Yes.
The New York Giants used to play at Yankee Stadium. That was their home field before they moved across the river to New Jersey, where both the Giants and Mets play now at MetLife. That's what it's called now. But, yeah, they both – I say they both. The Giants played at Yankee Stadium, and the Jets played at Shea, where the New York Mets were back then. Wasn't Citi Field then, it was Shea Stadium. Anyway, yeah, the stadium situation has changed, even in the big cities. But be that as it may, there are reasons why those home runs are hit at Yankee Stadium. I wouldn't call it a bandbox, but it's pretty doggone close to it.
Well, no, it's not a bandbox, but that short right porch, especially for a left-handed pull hitter, I mean, that is not that far. I think it's about 305.
I would say about that, 305, 310, somewhere.
And the strength that these guys have now. And guess what? When somebody's throwing 100 and you make contact, you know, it comes in fast, it goes out faster.
Of course.
And the game has changed so much, even over the last 5 to 10 years. Everybody is trying to hit home runs now. I mean, it didn't used to be that way. It used to be that hitting for average was valued a lot more, but now everyone's swinging for the fences, so you're going to be able to take advantage of that short porch a lot more.
The person that's won the batting average championship, you know, the last 4 or 5 years has been traded 5 times in 5 years. He's on his 5th different team.
I'm interested you mentioned that, because there are some other significant deals. We talked about the Cardinals and Royals, and Adley Rutschman going to the Boston Red Sox, a big one. But the one that really sticks in my mind is the batting champion from the National League.
Alvarez.
Luis Arraez has gone from the Giants to the Phillies, which is a big deal for Philadelphia, because he'll fit, in my opinion, he will fit a perfect role in their lineup to set the stage for Harper and for
Schwarber. Now, what do you think about Trey Turner has played in the outfield before, but yet they're not moving him from shortstop, and they're switching around their infield, and Bryce Harper's going to go back to right field, and he's had a bunch of leg and feet problems over the years, and now you're going to ask him to run around in the outfield? I just don't know why they didn't ask Trey Turner to move, or maybe they did, and he said, no bueno.
You got to appreciate what Bryce Harper was willing to do when he agreed to go out to right field as well. He brought his outfielder's glove with him for this most recent road trip, knowing that this was a possibility. You got to give him credit. I mean, that's a veteran player stepping up for his team right now.
He is Maddux, the leader in Philadelphia's clubhouse. It isn't Kyle Schwarber, it's Harper, and Harper's been around. He is an icon in Philadelphia. Well, so is Schwarber for that matter. But the two of them, the intrinsic leadership that Harper has come to the fore. And yes, he knew he had to do that. He knew he had to accept that and not raise hell or anything like that. And why should he? Because this is going to be a big addition to Philadelphia, to have that guy setting the table for you and these sluggers coming up.
He's also the one that went to the Philadelphia media last week and said, we need help.
He did.
So, if you're going to say we need help and they bring in help and it's going to require you maybe to make an adjustment, you do it and you do it gladly, and that's what he did, and give him credit for that.
That's a team member right there. He is also, however, the same individual who, when the commissioner came into the Philadelphia locker room last year, went right up and got in his face about the salary cap. Said, get out of here. Get out. He's telling the commissioner to get out? Come on, man. Anyway, I think he demonstrated to his teammates that this guy's he's our leader here. We'll do what he says. Interesting to see. It's an interesting trade in a lot of respects, because Luis Arraez, a consummate hitter. I think this is team number 4 or 5 for him. I'm not sure which is 5.
5 in 5 years.
How do you explain that? The Miami Marlins, the San Diego Padres, the Giants, now Philadelphia. What is it? Is he a troublemaker? Or is it just the fact that he is a contact hitter and not a long ball hitter?
I think Maddux went to that point earlier. I mean, they almost ruined Jordan Walker. Mozeliak just almost ruined Walker. Walker came up and hit in, 15 or 16 straight his rookie year, talking about Jordan Walker with the Cardinals, and then went into a mini slump, and they sent him down to relearn his swing to try to hit more home runs. It put him in a funk for 2.5 years.
He's just a different kind of hitter than what you see all across the league right now, Arraez is. I mean, it's very rare to have that kind of slap approach that he has now, because, again, everybody is swinging for the fences. I mean, the only guy that I can really think of in the league right now that can hit for both power and average at the highest level is Yordan Alvarez for the Astros.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he is maybe the best hitter in the world right now. So it's just dying out where you see these guys hitting for 300-plus averages now.
Because of the high strikeout rate, you don't have to pitch to those great hitters if you don't want to, because the next guy up's going to try to hit a home run too. So if you think you can get him out, then you're not really taking that big of a risk. But if you pitch to an Aaron Judge when you don't have to, you're going to pay for it.
Well, the Cardinals were examples of that last night in the 8th inning. They hit 3 home runs in that inning. Nathan Church had the big one. That was a 3-run shot that put the Cardinals over top and propelled them to the 7 runs they were going to score, and a 13-7 victory. But here the Cardinals are a young team, and they, I think, are – it's significant the way they're hitting, because it does equal the approach that Major League Baseball takes, but is it a winning approach? Because, yes, you're going to have periods when you get real hot and start hitting homers, but you have, in my opinion, even longer periods where you're not doing that.
It's literally an all-or-nothing approach, and that's how 90% of the hitters go to the plate now, and that's because that's what they're being taught in college. It's what they're being taught in the minors. Now, I don't think Joey Hawkins, they've got some power hitters on there, but he also likes to move the runner along, steal a base when necessary, and the Cardinals earlier this year, talking about the St. Louis Cardinals, they were running more and, stealing bases, and were more consistent, and then it seemed like for about 2 weeks there, they were just lost, and that happens over the period of 162 games. I am jinxing by saying this right now. I think they're going to make a little mini run and tease us about getting back above 500. If they can win one of the next two or both against the Yankees, they've got the Rockies coming into town. And I would say the worst team in baseball, but they just swept the Royals, so I don't know anymore. And that's nothing against the Royals or Art or anybody else.
Don't tell that to Art.
Yeah, no. I mean, but at the same point, if you're ever going to make a run, this is the time to do it. But ironically, the Cardinals have been a better team on the road than they have been at home.
They have been. That's exactly right. They have been because, in my opinion, the American League is not as strong as the National League in an overall talent basis, and that's where they're getting a lot of their wins. Case in point is the Yankees, having taken this one, did lose 2 out of 3 to the Toronto Blue Jays, but they've had major success on the road otherwise and against American League teams. Well, the fact is that they could be making a run. They are 4 games out of a wild card berth, and there are 2 teams in front of them who are also in the hunt. That's discounting the 3 who are in right now with the record, the Cubs and the Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. But the fact is that it's probably a long shot for them.
Oh, I think it is a long shot. I'm just saying, I think they have the potential to make a little run here because they didn't lose anybody yesterday, trading-wise, that was playing a big role this year. Dustin May had a few good outings, but he was still, his ERA was over 4. And JoJo Romero, I always said JoJo, oh no, when he would come in, because like many of the relievers for the Cardinals, and Stanek, I wish they would have traded him for a bag of baseballs because he drives me crazy, and he's good for giving up 2 runs and 2 walks every time he pitches.
I got to tell you, Bill Rowe has a great sense of humor about him, and it wasn't this year that he said that, but he's a big Cardinals fan. And they ran into the same situation several years ago. Oh, they're bringing O'Lean in from the bullpen. I said, O'Lean? Who is that? Gasoline. Time out. We'll take a time out on the starting lineup back in a second. The trading deadline has cost us some of that starting lineup that we just introduced. I'm Ned Reynolds along with
Dwight Glenn
and Maddux Radosevic.
The trading deadline, of course, involves vacation. Welcome to the starting lineup, and it's great having you with us. And we have a special guest lined up on us and all set to go as he occupies his usual spot on Tuesday at 7:30. Corey Riggs, the voice of Missouri State Sports. Big time at the auction on Saturday night.
Oh, 100%, Ned. It was a great event. Celebrating a couple of different things. One, celebrating a gentleman that you and I know very well in Dennis Heim, as the announcement was made that Dennis's number would be retired in Plaster Stadium this season. He is still the all-time career sack leader and the single game sack record holder in Missouri State football history. So an honor, very deserving for a man whose playing days and service to the school has spanned 5 decades now. So Dennis was honored. And then, of course, the event was started 40 years ago by the living legend, Bill Rowe. And a very nice piece of artwork was made in his honor. He was brought up on stage with his family and 40 years of what is now the sneaker soiree, but was the world's biggest garage sale, the auction benefiting athletics, all the different names it's had. A great event and got to celebrate 2 great gentlemen on the Missouri State campus Saturday evening.
Ballpark figure as to what the crowd was, in your opinion?
Oh, gosh. They sold over 60 tables on the floor for the event. And then, as you well know, as someone who's attended this event for a lot of years, they will also sell tickets in the stands, and people will come in and kind of sit in the stands and keep track of the live auction items and how much they go for and everything. This was an event that raised over $350,000 a year ago, I think, for Missouri State Athletics. And I'm sure they're going to be close to that number, if not over that number, again here in 2026. I got to tell you, Ned, one of the funniest parts of the evening was how competitive our head coaches can be. I won't get into specific dollars or figures, but they always do the Coach for a Day event, and Coach Casey Woods obviously brought a very good number to his part of the evening. And then Beth Cunningham got up on stage and said, "Hey, let's remind these football guys that this is still a Lady Bears town." It's a little friendly competition between women's basketball and football.
There was also, I know, a pretty good battle of wills of the individuals wanting Coach for a Day with Coach Cunningham too, and it was two. I'm not going to tell you their names, but two of our primary leading citizens in this town. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, to see those bank accounts going back and forth was fairly entertaining, and I'm sure something that made the Lady Bears coaching staff very happy, because there are a couple of big time fans and big time supporters that are the type of gentlemen that are willing to put their money where their mouth is, and step up and support these programs.
Corey, you might explain to the audience, how do they distribute those funds? How do they determine which program? I'm sure all the programs benefit from the event, but how do they distribute those funds?
Absolutely, Dwayne. You know, it's as simple as when you're at the event and you see almost every item is attached to a sport. If it's not attached to a sport, then it goes into a general fund that can be split up to whatever programs it needs to be. But, you know, if you're bidding on being Beth Cunningham's assistant coach for a day, the Lady Bears get that money. If it's an event to maybe go out with Biff and Kristen Williams and Patrick Ransdell and his wife Brooke, then that goes back into a general fund that can be divvied up as they see fit. There was a first time auction item that I'd never seen before last night, which was there was a chance and a few $1,000s were raised for Missouri State swimming and diving, as it was an opportunity to go to lunch with the coaches. So you get to go to lunch with Dave Collins, the longtime coach at Missouri State, Chelsea Dirksham, his assistant coach, and their new assistant coach, some guy named Ryan Lochte. So that got a lot of attention on Saturday night.
Was he there?
Yes, sir. He was. He and his significant other were both there, and I believe he even bid and won on a 2-year lease on a brand new Kia. So I think they even got themselves a new car on Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken.
Corey, you mentioned how competitive these coaches are, and that gets me thinking about Casey Woods. What game on the schedule do you think he most wants to win?
Well, I mean, I think it would be silly to look past week 4 in SMU. Obviously, there's a lot of coaches on this staff with ties to SMU for obvious reasons, other than just Casey. But while that one will loom large, I think getting over on Western Kentucky week 1 of the conference schedule should be the one that grabs the most attention. There's a lot of people that pick Western Kentucky to be a top 2 or 3 team in this league, and just being honest, that's not where the Bears are picked to finish right now. Just like last season, the Bears' first season in Conference USA and FBS football, there's a lot of people that think they're in the bottom half of the league, maybe going to finish around the 7 spot in a 10-team league. So I think the biggest game on the schedule, once you get through that non-con, is making a statement week 1 on the road in Bowling Green in Conference USA play, in a game that had a different meaning when Ryan Beard was here. That was his alma mater, but now it's a team that has a lot of expectations around it. So if the Bears could go into Bowling Green and punch them in the mouth week 1, I think that would send a message to the conference and to college football as a whole that Casey Woods and his Bears are for real.
We had, of course, and Corey, you may have heard this, we had Phil Steele with us a couple of weeks ago. And Phil, who in my opinion is the top individual to produce the preseason football guides and so forth, his manuals are outstanding. He said, we asked him, he said, I picked the Bears for 7th or 8th place. I've forgotten what it is now, 7th, I think it was. But he said the potential on that team would belie that. He said there's no way of really knowing how the other teams are going to respond. You can only do it by facts and figures and so forth. But he said Missouri State has a history of coming on and playing very well, like last year, and finishing in a bowl game. So I think the chances are, incidentally, while I think about it too, the gentleman who is doing our board work here, Maddux, you know him pretty well, don't you, Corey?
We've met, Ned. Yes, we have. I've enjoyed working with Maddux. It makes my heart happy knowing that the future of sports broadcasting isn't just the Pat McAfees of the world, that there are still some young people that understand journalistic integrity and work ethic and everything else. And Maddux did a great job filling in for us on the sideline last year, and we're going to make sure he gets an opportunity to do that again this fall.
He's very good with us, I'll tell you that. And I might ask you a quick question too. Are you aware of the future and the fate, I should say, more than anything else, of a former Bears broadcaster with whom you worked as his assistant, Steve Savard?
Oh, yes. No, I mean, you know what? Steve Savard must be a cat, Ned. He has got 9 career lives and just keeps going. But for him to go back to St. Louis, which I think those of us that had the chance to either work with or get to know Steve on a personal level knew that the time at Color 10, the time in Springfield was limited, that it was not going to be a forever stop for him, and that getting back to St. Louis, where his kids are, where his family are, was important. So I just incredible that he's been able to go back there and end up being the lead dog again because of his talent and his skill and just the way people respect him across the board. So
he's a top
St. Louis. St. Louis lost him to us, but they got him right back. Apparently, that was a good trade deadline deal. By the way, you haven't told me, what did you get for Scott? Is it Maddux and a can of beans? What is it? A player to be named later? What did you get for Purrier?
We got Dwight Glenn. He's the player to be named later.
Good Lord.
Of course.
I think whoever got Scott got the better end of that deal. Apparently,
I will tell you though that Savard is with KSDK was pretty good, and this is what I love about that. Number one, he's really good, top-notch professional at every level. But he's a sports announcer, and he is going to be an anchor in the news. And who does he replace up there? Another former sports announcer, Mike Bush. Hey, there is future for all of us, right?
That is 100% right, and it doesn't mean that that old line about an old dog can't learn new tricks, or leopards don't change their spots aren't necessarily true. When you're talented and gifted like Steve Savard, you can fit into any spot that you want to, and he made that transition from sports to news really seamless.
Amen. Well done. Let's talk a little bit about the grid circumstances, because it all does begin tomorrow. Fill us in on what's going to happen.
Well, the guys get back today. I think they've got to register by 4 o'clock this afternoon, get back on campus. Move-in day for the rest of the world on Missouri State's campus is the 14th of August. But the players will be back this afternoon. Practice will begin at 8:15. Honestly, I think we should have some sort of a celebration this week. We've got football back on campus, practice tomorrow, and Thursday night, the NFL fires up with a Hall of Fame game. I get to go to practice on Wednesday and watch televised football on Thursday. Somebody pinch me. I could not be happier right now, because all the baseball teams I watch probably aren't going to make the playoffs. So it's time to talk about football in earnest.
Corey, there aren't too many new rules in college football this year, but one of them is the opportunity to potentially have a free kick after receiving a fair catch on a punt. Do you think that Casey Woods would be willing to deploy that strategy with a guy that has a pretty big leg in Yusuf Obeid?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure just yet. I haven't had a chance to talk to Coach about that and kind of where he falls into the thinking about it. I find it to be a very unique idea, and you're right. Yusuf, in the last 2 years since he transferred from Michigan State, has kind of had an up season and then a season last year that was really below his own personal standards. I like him. I like our specialists a lot. He and Stuart McDonald, the Missouri State punter, both the young man from Logan Rogersville, I think bring a lot to this team. And I think it's nice knowing that that's not an aspect of the game that you have to quote unquote worry about going into a new season. Now, whether that they think about taking that free kick or not, I don't know. When you've got a return man like Jamari Robinson, who's considered one of the best in Conference USA, that'll play a big part in it too. But I love the fact that our specialists are back, and that's an area that you can be confident in going into the 2026 season, when still everybody knows that the top of everybody's mind right now is when are they going to name a starting quarterback? Obviously, with Skylar Locklear and Henry Beelan, I posted a video about that yesterday. Two very different quarterbacks, but two guys that both had a ton of upside. And I think this coaching staff, including offensive coordinator Mark Kalla, have a lot of faith in.
Right.
After last year's success and the better, bigger crowds, I think we've been told the season tickets are above what they've ever been. Is that correct? Can you give us some insight, and are they still available if fans want to purchase them?
Oh, 100%. We're not sold out of season tickets. That is not the case. So MissouriStateBears.com, you can still order your season tickets, get those. Single game tickets are on sale right now on the website as well. All the game night themes have been posted now for Heroes Night and Ag Day and everything else. So all that's up on the website. But yes, that is true. I can't give you a definite number, but I know that sitting in those external affairs meetings that I get to go to on Tuesdays, that they're at the number. And so everything past this is going to be in advance of what they did last year. So that's been a good thing. And all of that is a credit to the work that the staff at the university has done and the work that Casey Woods has done, guys, because this head coach has not ducked or said no to a single speaking engagement anywhere in Springfield. He has met with every fraternity, every sorority, student organization. Ned, he didn't miss a day of SOAR. He was at student orientation every day to speak one-on-one to incoming freshmen to the university. I mean, this guy is as all in on packing Plaster Stadium as anybody I've ever seen.
As far as the game day experience, are there any changes to Bear Village and anything different from last year that you are aware of?
You know, there's always going to be tweaks, Dwight, as far as some sponsors will be new this year. Some sponsors will move out that won't be there. I can tell you that that sort of Football Players Association, Will Fisher, OMB, big area that's always there that kind of anchors the tailgate will be there again. Boomer's Backyard with the inflatables and the face painters, the stuff for the kids will be there. And I tell you what, it wasn't well received at a certain point in the beginning last year, but with everything that the staff has done to set up and send different vendors over to the student tailgate area, that has turned into a really popular move. The kids walk right by the stadium to come back on campus, but they've sent different vendors over there. I think maybe they're even going to get some food trucks over there this year for the student area. So I think that's going to be an area that's really hopping again this year. And of course, we've heard Casey Woods talk at length about the fact that a huge part of that game day environment comes from a student section that is loud and proud and packs out the far side of Plaster Stadium. So the expectations are really high for them to get after it in that first home game against Lindenwood on September 12th.
I think it's obvious to everybody, the public especially, that football has really turned the corner as making a big stride, but we don't want to overlook hoops at all. It's part of the tradition at Missouri State University and a great and glorious tradition. What are the circumstances now, and have the season tickets gone on sale?
All of those are on sale as well. There's about 2 dates left. The entire women's schedule is out for the Lady Bears season. And Coach Conzo Martin and his guys are working on adding, I believe now, 1 or 2 games to the non-conference schedule, and then that will be released. But all the basketball season tickets are on sale right now on MissouriStateBears.com. And you're 100% right, Ned. No matter how popular football gets, the foundation of Missouri State sports was built on Bears and Lady Bears basketball, with names like Charlie Spoonhour and Cheryl Burnett, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Obviously, too, the men's team, there's a lot of intrigue around this men's team. I get to walk in and stick my head into practice every day. It's one of my favorite things to do in the Turner practice gym, and to see the size of this team. Conzo Martin says this is the biggest team he's ever coached. And remember, our head coach left here and coached at Cal and Tennessee and that school up north. So he's been at some bigger schools, but he says this is about the biggest lineup he's ever fielded. A lot of 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", down low, and even Isaiah Medina, an actual legit 7-footer, who is getting ready to start back up in practice after he had a little knee tweak. He's getting back into the rotation now. So there is a lot to be excited about on the men's side of the basketball. Obviously, the Lady Bears bringing back Kamen Beckemeyer, Laney Douglas, and a ton of talent. I don't know if there's ever been a season where expectations weren't high for the Lady Bears. You'd have to tell me when it was, Ned, because I don't remember it.
Well, I can tell you what it was. It was back in the early 1990s when Cheryl Burnett had her great march to the Final Four the first year, and then in the early 2000s, they under Jackie Stiles into the Final Four again. I don't want to overlook Conzo's school between Tennessee and Mizzou, and that's California. The reason I bring it up is that one of the reasons that LeBron James went to Philadelphia was so that he could play for a guy named Jaylen Brown, who came over from the Boston Celtics. Conzo was Jaylen Brown's coach in college at California. He has a heck of a
pretty talented scorer.
Oh, gosh, yes. Hey,
he does.
Corey, as always, thank you very, very much for being with us. You warming up your pipes for the season?
Absolutely. Getting ready maybe to try and get a little soccer in with Coach Seabolt before the football season starts. And heck, even last Friday night, I got to be the public address announcer for an event. My wife's the vice president of the Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Ozarks. They had their annual Guns and Hoses event between the cops and the firefighters, a little charity basketball event. And I got to warm up and do a little practice there. So I'm ready to go.
Who won?
I believe it was the police department. I talked to Chief Paul Williams, who just got done having rotator cuff surgery.
Uh-oh.
So I hope Chief is feeling better. But yeah, I think the police won that one by a few.
Corey
We'll leave
Riggs
it at
visiting
that.
with us. Thanks, Corey. We'll take a quick time out on the starting lineup back in a second. And coming up in our next segment here on the starting lineup, we'll be talking Cardinals baseball, so please, we want you to stay tuned. Rob Raines, the noted journalist from St. Louis, will be visiting with us. He'll articulate just a little bit on the Cardinals trades that happened on Saturday and Sunday, mostly Sunday and Monday, I should say, mostly on Monday. And it's very interesting because of some of the deals that were forthcoming. That is on the agenda, followed by Trenton Berry, who will be with us at 8:30, talking a little dirt track racing and all of the stock car scene as it exists. So what we will do now is take our mid-show timeout here on the starting lineup, our brief break, and then the second segment's on the way, and we would very much appreciate your staying right where you are.